record this one. Yes. So till now we have discussed about holding company account, its rules, and one problem we have discussed till now. So now we are going to discuss problem number two, second problem in this chapter. So let us see this one. From the following balance sheet and information given below, prepare consolidated balance sheet as on 31st March 2015. So if you see the asset side now, asset side fixed asset, okay, directly given, and both the company, here both the company, H limited means what? Holding company, S limited means what? Subsidiary company. So fixed asset is given for both the company, stock it is current asset is given, debtor is given, bills receivable, see this, bills receivable, holding company it is there, but subsidiary company there is nil. Then 7,500 shares in S Limited. So 7,500 shares in S Limited is nothing but holding company is making the investment in S Limited, that is 75,000. So it is an investment made by the holding company in a subsidiary company. So how you can easily find this information? So just you have to see subsidiary company capital. What is the subsidiary company capital? 1 lakh. What is the paid up value? 10. So by this information we can calculate number of shares of subsidiary company. So 1 lakh divided by 10 if you do, you will get 10,000. So out of 10,000, 7,500 shares are held by holding company means 7,500 becomes a majority. Why majority? Because more than 50% of the share capital if one company held, then in that case what happens? That company becomes a holding company. Holding company is equal to majority shareholder. So majority shareholder is equal to their interest is known as a majority interest. So here 7,500 is a majority. What about remaining 2,500? Out of 10,000 shares, 7,000 taken by holding company. What about remaining one? Remaining 2,500 shares are taken by outsider. So outsider's interest is known as a minority interest. So that is the meaning of majority interest and minority interest. So this is very very important. You have to know what is majority, what is minority before solving the problem. Yes. So now we know what is majority and minority. Now let us see one more thing is given in the asset side, preliminary expenses. So this preliminary expenses is treated as a capital loss. Why? Because preliminary expense means what? First thing we have to understand. What do you mean by preliminary expense? Preliminary expense is nothing but it has occurred initially. So initially maybe at the time of incorporation or before the acquisition. So here preliminary expense is expenses. So it is a capital loss. Capital loss, you know, it is treated as goodwill. Whenever there is a capital loss, it is treated as goodwill. Whenever there is a capital profit, it is treated as capital reserve. So what is the adjustment for this preliminary expense? So now while calculating minority interest and majority interest, you have to consider this portion of, that is proportion of preliminary expense also. That means before you have to calculate majority minority ratio, then you will get the fraction of share. Then with the help of that fraction of share, you have to divide these preliminary expenses into what goes to the majority, what goes to the minority. So whenever we are calculating minority interest, what are the three basic things? What are the three basic things? One is share capital of subsidiary. Second one is the total profit of subsidiary. Third one is total reserves of the subsidiary. So if you see these all three information, it is nothing but it is shareholder fund. So shareholder fund is nothing but it is one kind of income. But preliminary expense is an expense, you know. So that is why you have to deduct the preliminary expense to their proportion. To their proportion means minority shareholders proportion. Then you have to calculate minority interest. Similarly, while calculating majority interest, you have to show majority proportion of preliminary expense separately. Yes. Why you have to show separately? Because you are going to consider this capital loss under goodwill calculation. For goodwill calculation, there is one more separate working note is there. So we have to consider all these things. So asset side information we have discussed now. Whatever given in asset side, fixed asset, stock, debtor, bills receivable, investment made and preliminary expenses are mentioned. Now we will see the liability side. Liability side, if you see, there is a share capital. Share capital of 10 each. So paid up value is the same for both company, holding company as well as subsidiary company. Holding company share capital is 5 lakh. So we have to consider this information only in balance sheet. Why only in balance sheet? Because it is not utilized whenever we are doing working note. For all the working note calculation, we want subsidiary company information only. So subsidiary company information only. So here subsidiary company share capital we want, profit and loss account of the subsidiary we want, reserve of the subsidiary we want. Then there is a bills payable. Bills payable, if you see, holding company no bills payable. Subsidiary company there is a bills payable of 15,000. So by this also you can make out. See this, in the asset side there is a bills receivable is there under holding company. In the subsidiary company liability side bills payable is there. By seeing this, what you can understand? Can you tell me what you can understand? Bills receivable is there in one side, that too under only one company, and bills payable is there in other side, that under another company. So what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? Can you tell me? It is nothing but it is a one kind of intercompany transaction. That intercompany transaction means what? One company has to give something to another company. So here that will discuss. We'll discuss there is adjustment also. So now there is a bills payable, then creditor. Creditor, if you see, there is again both the side there is a creditor is given 1,10,000 and 60,000. So total of the balance sheet it is given in the problem 8,70,000 and 2,75,000 for holding company and subsidiary company respectively. Yes. So after knowing all the items in the balance sheet, we have to move for the adjustment. So if you see the additional info here, additional info. First one is bills accepted by S are all in favor of H. So S means here subsidiary, H means holding. So in this problem we can understand. So they are not mentioned specifically, but how to understand? I have already discussed that investment. See this majority is there with the holding means H means it becomes holding company. Minority is there with S means that becomes the other company, subsidiary company. So that is the meaning here. The bills accepted by S all in favor of H means what here? S Limited is going to make the payment to H Limited. So they have accepted the bill on behalf of H company means they are going to pay the money to the H company. So if you see here, if you see the balance sheet once again, see this bills receivable amount due from another company. Bills receivable means what? Amount yet to come, amount yet to come from some other company, that is 20,000. 20,000 is there, but if you see liability side bills payable is 15,000. 15,000 means what? That particular company have to make the payment to the another company. That means here subsidiary company has to make the payment to the holding company. So here you can easily make out by seeing this first adjustment, that is subsidiary company is going to pay the money to the holding company. In that case, this 15,000 is there, right? This bills payable you have to deduct from both the side. Both the side means from bills payable also you have to deduct 15,000, from bills receivable also you have to deduct 15,000. That is why it becomes intercompany transaction. Whenever there is an intercompany transaction, what happens? You have to cancel. You have to cancel. So 15,000 whenever you are cancelling, one side it goes. Bills payable entire amount goes, and in the balance sheet you have to show it as a nil because 15,000 itself is a bills payable. But if you see the asset side, there is 20,000 bills receivable is there. So from 20,000 if you deduct 15,000, remaining 5,000 still remains. Remaining 5,000 still it is a bills receivable. So that amount you have to show in the consolidated balance sheet. So this is about the first working no this is about first adjustment. After this, if you see second one, the stock of H Limited includes 25,000 bought from S Limited at a profit to the latter of 20% on sale. So basically what they are saying, stock of H Limited means there is some unsold stock. Unsold stock which holding company bought from subsidiary company. So whenever there is a unsold stock, there is an unrealized profit. Very, very clear. Whenever there is a closing stock with any company for that matter, holding company or subsidiary company, in that case what happens? There will be unrealized profit. So that unrealized profit, how to calculate? So now they have given 20% of a sale. So in this problem doesn't matter because it is directly given 20% of sale. So same thing you have to calculate. But in some problems they'll give 25% of a cost, then we have to find the selling price. If a cost price ratio is given, then we have to consider selling price. So for that separate calculation is there. So that we will discuss when other problem comes. So now we know 25,000 is a unsold stock. So 20% how much is unrealized profit? 25,000 into 20% if you do, you will get unrealized profit. Then the third one. What is the third information here? All the profits of S Limited has been earned since the shares were acquired by H Limited. So if you see here, what they are saying, profit is after acquisition they are saying. That means whatever the profit given under subsidiary company. So what is the subsidiary company total profit? 60,000. So this 60,000 becomes post acquisition profit. Why? Because it is given in the adjustment. After acquisition, they are saying. So entire 60,000 is a post-acquisition profit. And what about pre-acquisition profit? Pre-acquisition profit is not there. Nil. Pre-acquisition profit is nil. Why? Because here acquisition date is also not given. Acquisition means what? Holding company. When a holding company is going to acquire the shares of the subsidiary company. That is the meaning of acquisition. So in some problems, acquisition will be at the beginning of the year. In some problem, it may be at the middle of the year. In some problem, they may not mention acquisition date only. If acquisition date is not mentioned, we have to assume that entire amount is pre. Entire amount is pre. So at the time of balance sheet, that amount was there. But in this problem, if you see, they have said after acquisition, after the shares were acquired. That is why it becomes a post acquisition profit. Similarly, there was a reserve also, reserve 40,000 at that date they said. There was a already reserve of 40,000 at that date means now reserve we have to see. Oh, subsidiary company reserve, if you see, it is 40,000. So what they are saying, at the time of preparing balance sheet, 40,000 was there in S Limited books. So it is nothing but pre-acquisition reserve. In this case, it is a pre-acquisition reserve entire amount. Entire 40,000 is pre-acquisition reserve. So what about post-acquisition reserve? Post-acquisition reserve is not there, nil. In this case, it is nil. So till now we have understood the problem and the adjustment. After this, we have to prepare one by one working note. So any doubt till now? Till now, if you have any doubt, you can ask me now regarding the problem and the adjustment. Yes, can you tell me if there is any doubt regarding the problem and the adjustment? Tell me. Ankita, Anusha, Ashish, Narasimha, Pratish, Rajat, Shifali, Suresh. If there is any doubt regarding the problem and the adjustment. Shifali is saying no. Rajat is saying no. So I hope now you understood the problem. So now after understanding the problem, now we can easily solve. Step by step we have to go. So see this here. First one note is given. This is for our purpose. Preliminary expenses of S Limited is a capital loss that I have already told and divided among minority and holding company. Holding company means majority. Okay. Then there is a working note, one by one working note. So first one, calculation of pre-acquisition and post-acquisition reserve. In this case, they say reserve was already there at the time of acquisition. So entire 40,000 becomes pre. Entire 40,000 is a pre-acquisition reserve 40,000. So here reserve means what reserve we are talking about? Only subsidiary company reserve. We have to ignore this column for the purpose of working note. H limited column we should not see. Only S limited column we have to see. So S limited column reserve 40,000. So entire thing is pre. What about post nil? 40,000 minus 40,000 nil. That means total reserve minus pre-acquisition reserve. You will get post-acquisition reserve. Here 40,000 minus 40,000. So nil. Second one, calculation of pre-acquisition and post-acquisition profit. So here, post-acquisition profit they said. After the acquisition of a share, there was a profit it seems in S Limited. So S limited profit we know that is 60,000. So entire thing is post. Entire thing is post. That means pre-acquisition profit is nil. Pre-acquisition profit is nil. Post-acquisition profit is 60,000. So two working note is over. So this is very simple problem. But if you compare with other problems, there may be some calculation also. Yes. Now we have discussed the first and second working note, pre-acquisition and post-acquisition reserve and profit. Now third one we have to see is a calculation of a majority minority ratio. Majority minority ratio, first thing we want for this is share capital of subsidiary. What is the share capital of subsidiary? 1 lakh. 1 lakh is the share capital. What is the paid up value? 10. So we can easily find out number of share. How to find out one number of share? Share capital divided by paid up value. 1 lakh divided by 10. So number of share will be. So if you see here, number of share will be 10,000. 1 lakh divided by 10, 10,000. Now, among these 10,000 share in a subsidiary company, holding company is taking how much? That is given in the question. That is given in the question. See this as a form of investment. 7,500 is taken by holding company, they say. So, out of 10,000, 7,500 becomes a majority now. Very clear. See this 7,500 is a majority. That is nothing but investment. What about minority? Minority is very simple. From the total shares, you have to deduct a majority. You will get minority. So 10,000 minus 10,000 minus 7,500. If you do, you will get minority shares. Minority share is 2,500. But we want the majority minority ratio. So how to calculate majority minority ratio? Majority share is 7,500. Minority share is 2,500. Simplify this. Double 20 cancels. Then there is a 25. 25 ones and 25 threes. 3:1. So 3:1 is our ratio. So there is total 4 unit. If you see 3 plus 1 means a 4 unit. So we want a fraction of share. Fraction of share of majority also, fraction of share of minority also. So how to get that? Here if you see the ratio 3:1 means 3 by 4 is majority. Very simple. 3 by 4 is majority, 1 by 4 is minority. Yes. So after discussing majority minority ratio, that is working note 3, we have to calculate the minority interest. Yes, that is fourth one, calculation of minority interest. And whenever we are calculating minority interest, we want entire thing of subsidiary, entire amount of subsidiary, whether it is for capital, whether it is for total reserve, whether it is for this one, profit and loss. Entire thing we want. On the entire amount we are calculating minority interest. So now discuss one by one. See this. First one, half, that is, sorry, 1 by 4 here. 1 by 4 share in share capital of subsidiary. Why 1 by 4? We have already discussed. 3:1. That is why 1 by 4. So 1 by 4 share in share capital of subsidiary. Share capital we know that is given in the balance sheet 1 lakh. 1 lakh into 1 by 4 if you do, you will get 25,000 as your share capital of subsidiary belongs to minority shareholder or third party or outsider. 25,000. Then what about remaining 75,000 out of 1 lakh? 75,000 belongs to holding company. 25,000 belongs to third party. So that is about first one. Then second one, 1 by 4 share in a total reserve of the subsidiary. Total reserve of the subsidiary we want. That you can easily get by seeing the question. Once we'll see the question, total reserve of subsidiary 40,000. So on 40,000 you take 1 by 4. 40,000 into 1 by 4, what is the amount? 10,000. So you got the amount for second one. Then third one we have to do is 1 by 4 share in total profit. Again, if you see the question, you will get the total profit of the subsidiary, that is 60,000 given in the question. 60,000 into 1 by 4 if you do, you will get total profit as 15,000. So total minority interest. Now we want the total minority interest, that is 25,000, 10,000, 15,000. So it becomes 50,000. 50,000 is our total minority interest, but there is a preliminary expenses given in the asset side of the balance sheet. Whenever there is a preliminary expense, you know it is treated as a capital loss, and capital loss has to be divided between minority and majority. So let us see the preliminary expenses amount once. See this. In the question it is given 10,000. So 10,000 into 1 by 4 if you do, you will get a portion of minority preliminary expense. That is 2,500. Now you calculate total minority interest 50,000. This you have to deduct. This preliminary expense you have to deduct. Why? This we have already discussed. All these three are income. All these three are income. Shareholders fund. This is an expense. That is why we have to deduct. So 50,000 minus 2,500 if you do, you will get total minority interest as 47,500. So this 47,500 where you have to show? That is next question. Where you have to show? Can you tell me? This 47,500 where we are going to show in consolidated balance sheet, asset side or liability side? Can you tell me now? Asset side or liability side, minority interest. We have discussed this one. Yes, just comment in the chat box where we are going to show minority interest in the consolidated balance sheet. Asset side or liability side. Tell me. Yes. See, it is shown in the liability side. It is shown in the liability side. Why it is shown in the liability side? Can you tell me? Why it is shown in the liability side? Because whenever we are preparing the holding company account, holding company sees their interest only. Holding company sees their interest only means what? They see only what and all belongs to them. What and all belongs to them from the subsidiary company. So that is why whatever belongs to the outsider still remains in the subsidiary company or in the consolidated balance sheet as a liability. That is why we have to show separately minority interest under liability column. So now this is very clear. Now we got total minority interest. After that we can easily calculate majority. So 1 by 4 minority means majority is of course 3 by 4. So 3 by 4 share in share capital of subsidiary. So here I have written subsidiary for understanding purpose. But if you see the textbook and all, there is no information regarding this. Only they write as per the format 1 by 4 share in share capital. That's it. So this is not needed. If you understand the problem, this of subsidiary is not needed. Yes. So now calculation of majority interest. First one, 3 by 4 share in the share capital of subsidiary means share capital of subsidiary we know that is 1 lakh. 1 lakh into 3 by 4. That is 75,000. 75,000. Now there is one more thing. Why we have written set off against investment? This is very important. So whatever the share capital of subsidiary is there, right? That we have to set off against investment. So what is the investment value? So investment value given in the question. Investment value given in the question. How to find the investment value? Just you see the question. 7,500 share in S Limited, 75,000 they say. So 75,000 is our investment. So 75,000 is our investment. So what is this? Under majority, first point. So what do you mean by this? This is nothing but paid up value. This is nothing but under separate working note. Under paid up value, you have to show this amount set off against investment. That means from investment, you have to deduct the paid up value in order to find out whether there is any cost of control. Cost of control means if there is any goodwill or if there is any capital reserve, that we have to find out. So, you know, as per accounting standard 21, it is specifically for consolidated balance sheet, and under that, you know, you cannot show both the things. That means either you have to show capital reserve in consolidated balance sheet or you have to show goodwill. You cannot show both in one problem. So that is why there is one more concept of set off. That also we have to discuss. So now calculation of majority interest, first one we have discussed. Then second one, if you see, now for the purpose of majority interest calculation, we want separately. How we have calculated minority interest? Total amount. Now for majority, we want to pre-acquisition separately, post-acquisition reserve separately, pre-acquisition profit separately, post-acquisition profit separately. So as per that format we have to do. See this here 3 by 4 share in pre-acquisition reserve. So how to find out pre-acquisition reserve? Once you see the previous working note, pre-acquisition reserve is 40,000. That is working note number 1. By seeing the working note number 1, you can easily calculate 40,000 into 3 by 4. 40,000 into 3 by 4. If you do, you'll get 30,000. So why it is written capital reserve? That is next question. See this. If you see pre-acquisition reserve, pre means there is no specific date. So this reserve may include the reserves of the various years. That is, it may include the results of 2013, 2014. So we can't say. So what happens? It is generally more than 1 year. Pre-acquisition means it is generally more than 1 year. That is why we have to take capital reserve. So it is a long-term duration. That is why we have taken capital reserve. So this capital reserve, whenever we are setting off, we have to add. So that we will discuss. Then after that, third one, there is a post acquisition profit. This problem, there is no post acquisition reserve. See this, or else post acquisition reserve also comes. See here, there is a nil. That is why no need of writing post acquisition reserve. And in this problem, there is no pre acquisition profit. That is why no need of writing pre acquisition profit under majority, or else it comes. So only post acquisition profit is there. That is 60,000. So if you see now majority interest, next calculation is about post acquisition profit. 3 by 4 share in post acquisition. Post acquisition profit we know 60,000. 60,000 into 3 by 4, if you do, you will get 45,000. Why we have written revenue profit? So here revenue profit means after acquisition. After acquisition means we know there is one concept of financial year. So whenever there is a financial year, what happens? We know the when from when onwards financial year starts, and from when it will end, that we know. So it starts from April and ends on March. So there is less than 1 year. There is less than 1 year. Duration itself is 1 year. So it is short term in nature. So whenever it is short term in nature, what happens? It becomes a revenue. Revenue profit, post acquisition profit, revenue profit, pre acquisition reserve, capital reserve. So in short, you can say wherever there is a pre, you have to write capital. Wherever there is a post, you have to write a revenue. Like that, you have to understand. Then there is one more thing. There is a preliminary expenses, 3 by 4 share in preliminary expense. Preliminary expense given in the asset side, we know 10,000. 10,000 into 3 by 4, that is a majority fraction of share. 7,500. And this we have already discussed. Preliminary expense is equal to capital loss. It is one kind of expense. Whenever there is a loss, it is treated as goodwill. So goodwill, capital loss is equal to goodwill. We have written. So like this, you have to write. For everything, you have to write it in the bracket. This is very, very important. This information you have to write compulsory. That is about working note number 5 about majority interest. So any doubt till here? Minority interest and majority interest. If you have any doubt, you can ask me now. Ankita, Anusha, Ashish, Kushal, Narsimha, Pratish, Rajesh, Shifali, Suresh, and Vivek. Just tell me. Tell me now. If you have any doubt, you can ask me regarding minority and majority. Tell me. Any doubt? Have you understood? Yes. 9 members are there. You can give answer, right? Have you understood or not? Why you are sitting quietly? Pratish is saying yes. Ashish is saying yes. Shifali and Anusha is also saying yes. Okay. So till now we have discussed about these few working notes. Then after knowing majority and minority, yes Suresh. After knowing majority and minority, next thing we have to do is the calculation of a cost of control. So cost of control under that first one, cost of control is nothing but goodwill. You know, cost of control is nothing but goodwill. So if you see, first thing we have to write here investment. Outright investment, it is given in the balance sheet asset side. 7,500 share in S Limited, that is 75,000. So we will once again check. We will see that once again. See this here, they have mentioned 7,500 share in S Limited, 75,000. So that is why investment is 75,000. So after writing investment value, from that we have to deduct a paid up value. Paid up value of share. So there is two method now for calculating the paid up value of share. One is, you know what is the majority holdings. What is the majority shares? You know that is 7,500. So 7,500 into paid up value, if you do, you will get paid up value of the shares. Or else what you can do is just to see majority interest. Just to see majority interest working note. Under that first point, whatever you have written, 75,000, same thing. Same thing will become the paid up value. Correct. From the majority work interest, working note, you can write 75,000 as paid up value of the share. Okay, so now if you see investment made by the holding company is 75,000, original cost available in the subsidiary company is 75,000. So in this situation, what happens? It is equal. Both the amount is equal. So what you can say, there is a break even. No profit, no loss. In this case, no profit, no loss means what? There is no goodwill, no capital reserve. So that is the meaning of this one. So for example, let us say in this instead of 75,000, investment made by the holding company is 1 lakh. Now can you tell me whether it is a goodwill or capital reserve? If instead of this 75,000, if there was a amount 1 lakh and paid up value is 75,000, can you tell me whether it is a goodwill or capital reserve? Can you tell me now? Yes. Answer whether it is a goodwill or capital reserve if investment was 1 lakh. Yes. Whether holding company is paying more, 75,000 is whatever the balance available in subsidiary. Yes, but holding company is paying 1 lakh. That means holding company is paying more, right? So whenever holding company is paying more, whether it is a profit or loss to the holding company, can you tell me? Whether it is a profit or whether it is a loss to the holding company, can you tell me now? It is a loss. Yes, Rajat is saying it is a loss. Ashish is saying loss. Yes, whenever it is a loss, what kind of loss it is? What kind of loss? It is a capital loss. It is a capital loss because we are dealing with the share capital, isn't it? So it is a capital loss. So you know, capital loss is treated as goodwill. So if there was 1 lakh, then our goodwill answer will be 25,000. But in this question, they have given 75,000 itself. So 75,000, 75,000. That is why here goodwill is nil. Cost of control, goodwill answer is nil. That is working note number 6, calculation of cost of control. After that, seventh one, set off capital reserve against goodwill. We can stop here also, but the problem is there is a capital reserve. If you see majority working note, there we have written capital reserve, isn't it? So now that is why we have to set off now. Set off of capital reserve against goodwill. So total capital reserve. For that you have to see majority interest working note. Where is majority interest working note? Yes, here. Here, wherever you have written capital reserve, see this one, second point. Second point, we have written capital reserve because it is pre-acquisition reserve. So we know now total capital reserve is 30,000. So there is no other capital reserve. That is why total capital reserve is 30,000. We have taken 30,000. Then in the bracket also I have written, see this, majority pre-acquisition reserve. From that you have to deduct total goodwill. Here total goodwill is nil, but we have written 7,500. How? Can you tell me? We have taken 7,500. Goodwill is nil under cost of control, but we have taken 7,500. How? See, very simple. Whenever we are calculating set off of capital reserve against goodwill, we have to see majority interest. Majority interest working note. That is why it is very, very important among all the working note. Majority interest working note. So when we see majority interest working note, there is a concept of preliminary expenses in this particular problem. And preliminary expenses, if you see, we have written capital loss. So goodwill amount is from preliminary expense. This amount 7,500. So total goodwill, there is no other goodwill. So total goodwill is 7,500. So if you see negative balance, that is capital reserve, that is shown in the liability side, 30,000. Positive balance, goodwill, shown in the asset side, 7,500. Which balance is more? Negative balance is more. This 30,000 is more than 7,500. That is why our final balance is also negative balance. Negative balance means net capital reserve. That means you no need of showing the negative. You know now. That is capital reserve means you have to show in the liability side 22,500. This is our net capital reserve. Working note number 7. After that, there is a working note number 8, that is elimination of intercompany holding. So intercompany holding, if you see, just we have to go for first one. First adjustment once we'll go up. See this. The bills accepted by S all in favor of H. So S is going to pay for H. So bills payable available in S Limited, that is subsidiary company, is 15,000. That means this 15,000 is due. This 15,000 is due to whom? Holding company. That means this 15,000 S Limited will transfer to the holding company. When this 15,000 is transferred, this 20,000 reduces. Why? Because bills receivable, whatever the amount due from other companies 20,000, when subsidiary company gives this 15,000, this 20,000 automatically reduces. So 20,000 minus 15,000 if you do, you will get the bills receivable amount, that is 5,000. So intercompany transaction we have to eliminate. That is, intercompany means either holding company is giving something to subsidiary company or subsidiary company is giving something to holding company. See this. Now we have to do like this. Bills receivable of holding company we know, that is given in the balance sheet 20,000. There is no other bills receivable of subsidiary company. Dash is given. So bills payable of subsidiary company is given 15,000. There is no other bills payable of holding company. So 15,000 and 20,000 we know. Now remaining bills receivable is 5,000. So 20,000 minus 15,000 we have to do. We will get remaining bills payable 5,000. How we understood that we have to deduct 15,000 only? By seeing the adjustment. Because S is accepting the bill. That is why here S is going to make the payment to H Limited. This is working note number 8, elimination of intercompany holding. Then after this, there is one more working note, that is treatment of unrealized profit. That is working note number 9. So I told in the previous class that minimum of 8 working note, maximum of 12 working note will be there. So here there is unrealized profit and intercompany transaction. So one working note extra. So working note number 9, treatment of unrealized profit. If you see the adjustment, once again we'll go to the adjustment now. We'll go to the adjustment. There is one statement is given. See this. The stock of H Limited includes 25,000 bought from S Limited at a profit to latter. Latter means at a profit to subsidiary of 20% on sale. So you can say here what they are saying. Holding company has this 25,000 as unsold stock. Unsold stock at the year end, and transaction has already happened. Transaction has already happened means holding company already bought the goods from subsidiary company. That is already payment is made. So that is why here unrealized profit, if you see 25,000, 20% sale they have said, so you have to take 20% of 25,000. But suppose there is a cost price is given in the question, cost price, then you have to convert into the selling price. Cost price is given, for example 25% of cost is given in the question. Then how to calculate? How to calculate? In that case you have to do 25 divided by 125. That is one method. 25 divided by 125 you can do, or else 25% of a cost means 25% of fraction we have to understand. What is the 25% of the fraction? Can you tell me in fraction? 25% means how much? Can you tell me now? Fraction, in fraction you tell me. Yes, tell me. 25% means how much? Fraction. 1 by 4, isn't it? Fractional. 25% means 1 by 4. So simply you have to add 1 to the denominator. Simply you have to add 1 to the denominator, you will get the selling price. So that this is a shortcut method I am telling. So 1 by 4, in the denominator you add plus 1. So now what it becomes? 1 by 5. 1 by 5 it becomes. So 1 by 5 in percentage, can you tell me now? 1 by 5 in percentage. What is the 1 by 5 in percentage? Can you answer? 1 by 5 in percentage. Very simple. 1 by 5 in percentage means it is 20%. So 25% of the cost is equal to 20% of sale. So most of the problem they will give 25% of the cost. So you have to take 20% of the sale. So I have explained that now. So keep that in mind also. But in this problem, selling price itself is given. Unrealized profit. One more adjustment is there here. Unrealized profit you have to deduct from two accounts. One is from a profit and loss account in the liability side. Profit and loss account in the liability side, and in the asset side from stock you have to deduct. So there is a two deduction for unrealized profit. So what is our unrealized profit answer? 5,000. So this 5,000 you have to deduct from both the side. Yes. After doing all these 9 working note, we have to prepare consolidated balance sheet. So till now, have you understood all the working note? Can you tell me now? Have you understood all the working note? All 9 working note. Can you tell me? Any doubt regarding all the working note? Ankita, Anusha, Ashish, Kushal, Narasimha, Pratish, Rajat, Shifali, Suresh, Vivek. Rajat is saying no. I hope this is clear. There is no doubt. You have to understand the concept. Then it is very easy. Yes, Ashish is saying yes. What about others? I hope others also understood. Kushal is saying yes. See, after doing all the working note, we have to prepare one consolidated balance sheet. Consolidated balance sheet is nothing but it is a combined balance sheet of holding company and subsidiary company. So, consolidated balance sheet of H Limited and its subsidiary S Limited as at. Here you have to write, and asset side if you see, what and all item is there, fixed asset is there, stock is there, debtor is there, bills receivable. Okay, so fixed asset, first one is fixed asset, so we have to write combined. So for that, once again we have to see the question. Once again we have to see the question. Where is the fixed asset given in the question? See this combined fixed asset, that is 4 lakh plus 60,000. 4 lakh is of holding company, 60,000 is of subsidiary company. So you have to write like that. So see this. Now we'll go to the solution part of the balance sheet. See this now. Fixed asset, holding company 4 lakh, subsidiary company 6 lakh. Same like this also. Like this you have to write. H Limited and S Limited separate you have to show. Then total amount 4 lakh 60,000. That is fixed asset. After fixed asset there is a stock. H Limited stock is given in the question 3 lakh. S Limited stock is given in the question 1 lakh 20,000. Add both. What is the total stock? 4 lakh 20,000. But you know, unrealized profit you have to deduct from stock and profit and loss account. So deduct from 4 lakh 20,000 unrealized profit. This is nothing but working note number 9 answer. Working note number 9 answer 5,000. So 5,000 you have to deduct. Yes. After this you will get amount 4 lakh 15,000. That is 4 lakh 20 minus 5,000. Similarly, there is a debtor. Debtor, H company debtor is 75,000 given in the question. S company debtor is 85,000 given in the question itself. So directly we can write 1,60,000. But sometimes there may be intercompany transaction. Some of the problem. Intercompany transaction means there may be supply of goods from one company to another company. In that case, you have to deduct from debtor as well. In that case, you have to deduct from creditor as well. But in this question, that is not mentioned. So that is why directly we can write the debtors. Then the bills receivable, I have written intercompany in the bracket 5,000. How we got 5,000? 20,000 was there in the balance sheet. 15,000 was intercompany. So remaining answer 20,000 minus 15,000. Remaining answer is 5,000. So now we have written all the asset side information. Now we have to see liability side. So asset side information we have not written goodwill. Why? Because when we are calculating, we got what? Net capital reserve. So this net capital reserve we have to show in the liability side. If we got net goodwill, then we have to show in the asset side. Now we will see liability side information. There is a share capital. Share capital, if you see, share capital of 10 each of H Limited only. Very, very important. In balance sheet, we have to consider H Limited share capital only. So what about S Limited, that is subsidiary company share capital? Why we are not showing? Because it is cancelled. It is cancelled. How it is cancelled? We have set off against investment. If you see, some of the share capital is taken by the holding company from the subsidiary company, and some of the share capital is taken by the outsider. So outsiders information we have shown separately under minority interest, and this whatever taken by the holding company we have set off against investment. So basically there is no share capital at all in the subsidiary company. That is why in the consolidated balance sheet we should not show share capital of a subsidiary company. So once again we will see the question now for better understanding. See this, we will move to the question once again. Here holding company share capital is 5 lakh, subsidiary company share capital is 1 lakh. So this information 1 lakh you should not write, only 5 lakh you have to write. I have already explained about this one. Yes, so 5 lakh is a share capital. After this, there is a profit and loss account. Profit and loss account of H Limited is given 2 lakh in the balance sheet liability side. S Limited is now very very important. One more thing comes here. S Limited, whenever we are writing, we have to write majority post profit. That means we have to see the majority interest once again. That is why majority interest working note is very important. So I will tell you. Once again, we will go to the question. Once again, we will move on to the question. Here, if you see, profit and loss account of the subsidiary is 60,000. We have taken in the consolidated balance sheet holding company profit and loss 2 lakh. Okay, correct. But subsidiary company we have not taken 60,000. Why? Because under this 60,000, some of the portion belongs to the minority also. That is why we cannot take 60,000. We have to take only majority portion because we are preparing holding company account. So what is a majority portion? Majority portion means here post acquisition. Wherever there is a revenue you have written, right? So that information you have to show in the balance sheet. Wherever there is a capital reserve, that is not there. Only revenue information. See here, revenue information, revenue profit we have written, post acquisition profit, that's 45,000. So 45,000 you have to show here. Yes, limited 45,000. So I have written here in the bracket majority post profit. Yes. After that, now we got the total of profit of H Limited and S Limited. From it, we have to deduct unrealized profit. So why unrealized profit? There is a deduction for both the sides. One is in the asset side stock unrealized profit deduction, and in the liability side profit and loss unrealized profit deduction. So 5,000 you have to deduct from this 2,45,000 minus 5,000. If you do, you will get 2,40,000. That is profit and loss account. Then reserve. What about reserve? Reserve holding company reserve is 60,000. What about subsidiary company? In this question, very important. Once again, post acquisition reserve is not there. That is why yes company is nil. But suppose in all other question, post acquisition reserve was there. In that case, what happens? It becomes a revenue reserve. Whenever there is a revenue reserve, you have to show in the consolidated balance sheet. But in this question, not there. That is why nil. So 60,000 and nil, your amount will be 60,000. So that is the reserves total. And what about capital reserve? Capital reserve is nothing but working note. Once you see the working note we have written net capital reserve 22,500. That is nothing but liability. That is why we have to show in the liability side capital reserve 22,500. Then there is a creditor. Creditor holding company creditor is 1,10,000. Subsidiary company creditor is 60,000. That is directly given in the question. So that is why you have to write directly total combined creditor, that is 1,70,000. Bills payable. One more next very important thing is bills payable. That is intercompany nil. Why intercompany nil? Here subsidiary company makes all the bills payable payment to the holding company. So there 15,000 bills payable whatever given in the balance sheet cancels. That we have discussed in the working note. So 15,000 minus 15,000 nil. Bills payable is nil. Next, there is last one is minority interest, that you know. Working note. Again, working note we have to see. Where is that working note? Working note number 4. Working note number 4. Total minority interest 47,500. So this is nothing but liability side. You have to show this information separately. Minority interest 47,500. So finally, after doing all these things, we will get one total. That is both the side total. That is 10,40,000. This is how you are going to.